Hello and welcome back to Focus Atlanta again. I am your host, Keisha Lancelin. Thanks so much for continuing to watch. We're going to talk a little bit about another organization who benefits from the AIDS Walk. I'm here with Tim and West. Thanks so much for coming on the show. Well, you got to give me a little history. Tell me a little bit about the Institute.
Absolutely. The Institute is a part of it's a signature initiative of the National Center for Civil and Human Rights, which was founded in 2014 here in Atlanta. And we're about to celebrate an expansion, new exhibits, just an exciting time to bring this work to the Atlanta area and to the country and to the world. But the Institute was started the year after 2014. In fact, September 2nd marks 10 years that we've been in existence. I was initially a board member for the Institute and became executive director just a couple of years ago. And initially, the idea of the Institute was that it would connect advocates and academics, right? So that people who are doing research about LGBTQ communities are grounding their research in the lived experiences of people on the ground. That was super important. As we saw the tide change politically, and there was more urgency around rights being eroded, legislation being passed that was really harming our communities, we felt like we needed to take some tips from our civil rights movement, which is really grounded in the work that we do at the center. And so I was walking by, I saw this picture of John Lewis, Representative John Lewis, and I'd never seen a picture of him that young. And so I said, we have to play the long game. How do we play the long game? And so I was like, let's energize these young people. They have a lot of passion, but they also need tips and instruction and mentorship on how to advocate. And so John Lewis didn't just show up on the bridge at Selma and said, hey, I'm here, right? There were trainings, there were freedom summers and camps. And so that's what the Institute does now, a broad coalition of LGBTQ young people, anywhere from age 14 to age 30. So when we talk about a large range of folks, college students who are really saying, like, how can I prepare myself to be that next wave of change?
Oh my goodness. I got chills when you put it like that. It really puts it in perspective, right? Because again, you're right. We look at those historical figures. We look at Hosea Williams. We look at, John
Yeah,
Lewis. And when you think about the fact that they were just babies,
they were
right?
right.
Well, in our minds, they were just kids.
Mhm,
And they
mhm.
were standing up and fighting and doing everything that they can do. How do we prepare the next generation for those same kind of, unfortunately, to some extent, some of the same kind of fights?
Absolutely, absolutely. It's so important that I think, especially when we're talking about an issue like HIV/AIDS, right? Like we've come to a point where there's life-saving medication, right? I myself am bear witness to this as someone who leads the Institute's work. But I was 26 years old when I tested positive for HIV in 1999. Thought I had a year or two to live, didn't know if I'd get to see 30, but that was around the time that protease inhibitors came about, right? And research made that available. Research made that happen. Now we're seeing our scientific and research institutions under assault. And we're seeing now, as you noted, like a return to a lot of policies and things that are really threatening the basic civil rights, that are threatening our very democracy. And I think our young people are really the answer and the key.
Absolutely. I couldn't have said it better myself. I think that often we feel like, oh, okay, we've crossed the bridge, yay, we have medicine that we need. Yay, we have treatments that we need. But unfortunately, here in Atlanta, here in Georgia, our numbers are still really high,
Very, I
especially
think some of the highest in the country, right?
some of the highest in the country. So we still need to be working. And so the fact that you have young people recognizing that, doing the heavy lifting, I don't know, it's a bit encouraging to me.
Yeah, I'm excited. Again, our efforts are still going, and if people want to connect, they can feel free to look at the LGBT LGBTQ is where you can find out about all the different programs that we're doing, the youth work, and certainly support our efforts with AIDS Walk. It's programs like our Youth Belong or our Georgia Youth Advocacy Fellowship, or our National Advocacy Fellowship that really helps equip young leaders to advocate not just around HIV prevention, but also the broader issues connected to health, which are like housing, right? Healthcare and inclusive and responsive care. So it's also, we want a space where people can feel comfortable saying, you know what, I made a mistake as a young person. Where can I go get information? What's that thing about PrEP? What's that, right? And we don't want to create an environment where young people are afraid again. Because I remember, like, we came up with the whole Grim Reaper posters, like, AIDS, you will die, right? And
Absolutely.
I don't know that that was the most effective way. Like, scaring people into being safe doesn't generally work, right? But if we can create an environment where young people feel I can make a mistake and ask a question and get the help that I need, that's the environment we want to preserve.
Thank you so much for coming on the show. Thank you for sharing the information about the Institute and where we can learn more. It was a pleasure to meet you.
Absolutely a pleasure to meet you. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. All right, guys, it is the AIDS Walk. You have all the details there. And I gotta say, it is quite the party with a purpose. You've heard me say that before in years past. Yes, we're going to talk about the lives that we lost. We're going to remember those people, but we're also going to celebrate the fact that we're in a better place, right? There are other options. There are tests. We all need to be tested. There's so much to celebrate too. So take the opportunity to go to the website, join us at the AIDS Walk, and stay tuned to more Focus Atlanta. We'll be right back.